do some settings. I mean, give that credentials to integrate with the email. So here, see how we sending the email from our Pega application and how we are receiving the email, right? So that's what we can create one email account to this application. Let's see. Click on here. Click on here. Create. So what is the account ID? You can give any account ID. Just a unique name. You can give it. I'll give T-Bank admin. Just give the same name and the email provider. So what type of email provider which we using, right? There are a number of email providers. You see Google, Outlook, and like Microsoft different servers that's using. You can select the Gmail for our testing purpose. So there, it using some protocols for sending the email. This is what we can select here. So here, just enter the email ID. Okay, I'll give the. It's not support for these configuration because there is an authentication. Okay, set up for this email configuration. Okay. So which is not support. I'm just trying here. So user ID just keep the same and password. So once it is done, so here if you have any, this is from the security settings and advanced. So receive it side also just select the configuration here. So this is a different receiving protocols you can select here, and there you can define here. So what happened? So if you sending email to this, I mean sending email to the customer using this email address, what happened? Whatever the email reply, automatically it will be reply back to this email address, whatever it. So you can configure it. What is the email address you want to reply back? So just give the same and okay. So once it is done, so this is the default port number and all. So let's say then. So once we have done all this configuration, now let submit. So here we see there is an account will be created. T-Bank admin. It is the connection is what? Pause. I mean it's not. It will be failed. So click on here, and there you see the test connection. Don't we see here? No, it's not showing as well. So click on here, failure, connection status. So if it is failure, then we'll see why it is failed. So mostly we are getting what? The authentication issue with the Google, right? So it is not supporting. So there are settings we have to follow. So somewhat it's not supporting from the Pega. Authentication creation. Okay, so here we see. So if all the authentication and all, so then it successfully create the email account, right? And there we can use this email account to send email to the customer. So first of all, once we done this, right? So what we need to do, we need to have a template which is sending email to the customer. So the template, how we can define, so what are the rules we need to create? So for that, click on it here and go to the which is in the, there is a what email correspondence rule we have. Process we see here, technical I think. This is, there is a correspondence rule. Here you see correspondence and the correspondence type. So generally correspondence type, type we see the type of message we're sending. So when we have the bank application, for example, the bank will communicate you through what? Message. They can send you text message, they can send you email, they can call, okay, and mobile call. Um, and if you install the application, any mobile application, you will get notification through push notifications as well. So there is a notification you will see in the uh, in the mobile, right? There is a notification related to anything. So kind of there are different ways we send I mean notification to the customer. So what type of the correspondence we sending, right? So that is what we see, the correspondence type. So now we have different type of correspondence that's we see here. Go to the process, and this is the records what if you want open all the instance of the specific rules, you can proceed from here. So click on here on the correspondence type. You see what type of correspondence type as default. You see the phone text, email, fax, email. So these are the type of format we are sending to the customer. Okay, and now, okay, and now, so this is, suppose I'm going to I want to create a correspondence type is email, right? So now in that email, what type of data and what is the template I need to define. So that is what correspondence rule. So now I want to create a correspondence rule. So now configure, um, sorry, click on create process, and we see correspondence rule. So click on here on the correspondence. The correspondence type is type of message we are sending, okay, and correspondence is the format how we are sending to the customer. So now send just email, and what type of correspondence we're sending. So here we see email you can select, okay, and now this correspondence rule which applies to the what class you can define in the framework layer if you want to reuse that. And now click on create and open. So here in this correspondence rule, so here if you want complete code only, okay, the code you can define with JSP or HTML, that is what, or you want include any other template, okay, any existing template you want to use it, you can use it. So or you can go with the customizing, everything. These yeah, So this is, we don't need, just delete it. So now, so here, so what we are trying to send now, let's see that you see here we have the number of options. So this is what you want to include: the text, you want to include the tables inside the mail. Okay, and there are a lot of options we have for sending the email. Here we see you want select the font size and font type, right? And you want add the bullet points. So like this, how you want, what is the message we're sending, how you want, I mean the body, the email body that we are sending here. That's all, everything you can define here in this correspondence rule, right? You want to include image and tables and all. So you have all these options. And coming to here, the source, click on here. So what is the source here? The source is nothing but, you see, this is the configuration. You can write the HTML code here, anything that, and here you see. So this is the option inside a property. If you want add any property here, click on here. So what is the property you want to add it, right? Customer ID and the format. So leave it as default. I mean the date or text. You can define as a text. Now you can keep the when condition when it has to be displayed. Okay. Now so here you see. But the settings we see, there is a when condition, there is a format, and there is a property. So this is the condition, and this customer ID will be displayed when this condition is true. And also, what is the rules we can you can add it in this correspondence rule. Also, what paragraph rule, section rule, and any correspondings, and this is what fragments, which is nothing but complete HTML if you want to include here. Okay, so these are the rules we can refer here to sending in the email. So there is a section is also you want to include. Okay, what type of section, what is the class, and all. You want to include a section, press down arrow, and in this work class you see what are the sections we have. So I'm adding customer information. It will take default page, leave it as, and the when condition you want to give it, save it. So here we see customer ID and customer information we have added. What happened? It's not saved. So click on here on the include a rule and select the section, press down array and select the section you want to be add and on submit. Right, and this is what. So now again you want to add whatever the rules you want to add in this section we sending. So now the loan information, save it, right? So like this. So what we can include here, if you want, send with the dear customer, right? So dear, what we can include that the user name. So include the property. Click on here. What is the property which is holding? Dot customer info dot the first name, right? Save it. So now dear customer, I mean its name. Now it will be take the customer name dynamically, right? And all this data which is added. So now so you can just include please find a book information, right? For your loan process, right? For your loan process, and has been processed what successfully. Fine. Any information you want to add? So like this, just if you have any section, want maintain all the signature and template and the format we sending, right? Email signature and also just include that section or HTML rule here. As of now, we don't need. Okay. And now we can save this. So we save this correspondence rule, right? How we can send an email to the customer? How we can send it? There we have activities. Send sample email. We can use existing activities to send the email. Search with email. You see some we don't have. We have some activities we have. Notify, action notify, email account. There we have out of the box activities we send email. So let's see. Let's go to the case type and click on the one. So also we can use it where from the here itself, case type itself, we have the smart shape regarding that. That is the one we'll see. Let's see. Once a loan approval has completed, just open this process. So right click here. So right click, add automation. Sorry. So there we'll see the automation. We have option to send email. So here you see send notification, send email. So let's click on here, send email. Click on it. So here, so we want include email address as a constant value in the double quote, or you can have the field. Suppose what is the field we can refer here? Dot the customer what? There is a customer info, right? Customer info dot, which is holding what? Email. So this is the email address of the customer. It is sending dynamically to this email address. So now, what is the settings? Subject. You can define here is the loan process. You can give any subjects here, and there you are saying you are sending the custom message. Your custom message there you want compose. Sending the email. or you have a correspondence. So select the correspondence which we done, place down array and select here customer. Okay, and now submit, and click on it, and here you see, save it. So once it is done, let's see, customer info, click on here. So this is already created, right? Just still loading. So here, enter the fields which is like the customer name, test user, okay, and the mail ID, test user @ and PAN card, okay, and so an information. So enter here test user last name, just enter the date of birth, something, any of the date of birth. So it is displaying date time as well, right? So we don't need that. We just try to avoid we have the settings on the section. So click on here to open the section. So go to the live UI, inspect the element and click on here icon to open the section. So that is you do it, or will tell you. So click on here. This is the what? Control, right? The control we use it to refer the property that how we want to display it in the UI. So go to the presentation where you see settings, type is a date, read only. Just leave it as so the input calendar. So date type, you can just leave it as a date only. Submit, save it, and now let you just refresh it and write it will be take date only. So now enter the phone number and address, account number, right? And why it is not okay? Now click it showing up. Check this issue from your side. So it is not displaying right before. When I click on, then only it is displaying. So this page is not loading. So just check that why this present address page we used to load the section, right? You just check that why it is not loading. I mean, you just need to load before loading this UI. Enter the pin code. So automatically we see. Now continue. And the employer name, designation, experience, and salary. Continue. And the loan type, loan term, loan amount, and continue. And finish it. So we'll go to the approval. And now approve it, test, submit. And now submit. So what we have, once we done this approval, then it will send, right? So now let's submit. So it is going to the payment, right? So see the attachment, any attachments were added. Now, so click on the actions, refresh. Here we see the email were attached, right? Click on here. So it is sent to where, to whom? This email address, and this is the bits. And what is the email body? And here you see. Okay. This is displaying as a readable, but it should be read only, right? Please find out the information where has processes, right? So like this, we use it to send the email. So we have the option to send the email using the activity as well. There we can use any activity you can open. So there we have call send. Okay, so we have some out of the box activities to send the email. Send email to the assignee. Suppose you have any once the deadline reached, you want to send to the assignee and who is assigned to that assignment, right? Just want to send the email, so you can, there you have a lot of out of the box the activities you can send. So this is the activity you can go, but the parameters you need to set to whom we are sending, what is subject message, correspondence name, and the email account which you are processing, right? This all you just you have to define here as a parameters. So then it will take all this data as a param, and then it will be send the email to the end user. Okay. So there we have an out of the box activity. There we have a uh, smart shapes, you can use it to send the email. Okay. So there, this is what you have to understand. So now we'll go to the manual processes, which are agents. I mean agents, and technically we're calling as what? I mean the new concepts, which is what? Job scheduler and queue processor. So how this job scheduler and queue processor will work? Let's see regarding the job scheduler. So this job scheduler will wake up on scheduled time and execute the activity. So what is this background process? Job scheduler and queue processor. Job scheduler, queue processor, which are running on scheduled time. So how we can create a job scheduler here? Click on create sysadmin. In sysadmin category, you see um, okay, here you see job scheduler and queue processor. Click on it, and so what we can do here, what is the work we are assigning to this job scheduler? Then see, it's not we don't assign, it just simply run the activity on scheduled time. So let's see here. This job scheduler, I'm just giving here, for our testing purpose. So now just click on create and open. So what type of action you want to perform in the background? Suppose how this job scheduler will work, like something you want to process. Suppose um, anything like, so in real-time application where it interact with a number of applications in the background. Suppose your bank application, right? So in the bank, if they're not maintaining the loan, creating the loans you can do in the Pega, but maintain all the data and processing the loans you can do from the different application. For example, for suppose there is a loan application, different application. For example, before we creating a loan case in our application, there we have a different application, and this application will gather all the data from different source of systems. Okay, so now this application will maintain all the customer details, right? Loan information, loan details, customer information, profiles, and this is documents and all, which is maintained in this application. And once it is done, then I'll write so whatever it so once it is done, this application will send the request to create a loan case in our application, right? And this or interacting with our what, which may be using SOAP or REST, whatever it, the sending all this data. So now in our application, what we do, we send we keep all the data into one particular table, okay, from customer table. In this table, what we do, we use to maintain all this customer data. And now I want create a bulk or an every 1 hour something to wake up. This job, I want a background process to run, and each 1 hour check this table, any new entry or entered into this table, then pick the record and create a case, right? Job scheduler. So now what this job scheduler will do, it will this whatever the entry into this table, and it will pick the record. So what this job scheduler will pick the record? No, there we have the activity. So this is what you want to run all the nodes. So as we discussed yesterday, there is a cluster in the cloud. You run the cluster. The cluster, they are dividing as a number of servers. Okay, server 1, server 2, and server 3, which is nothing but a nodes. Okay, and so if you are running our application in this server, right? So like this. So there are different. So why these servers which are maintained means in the real time they are the users. Okay, they are the 100 users, for example. That's nothing matter using one application, but it is increasing to 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh users at a time. Automatically the server's performance will down because a lot of users are logging into this application, so it couldn't able to process at a time. Then we'll see the what server down, something issues we'll see, right? And what this will do, the node class load manage load management will take care of the user log into this application. Automatically it pointing to the this node, this server. This is what maintaining the load at runtime on the server. Okay, now this is what loading with heavy request. then whatever the new user come, then it will be assigned to this server, kind of things. This is the load management which is following. So kind of even this is running, processing data, I mean executing the activity in the backend. So how this is a requester which is processed, I mean along with the number of nodes or specific nodes only, right? So what we do is, so generally for running this, so this is running, suppose it has to be fetch, suppose there is 100 entries in the table, then this is has to be processed 100 records at a time, right? Suppose there is 1,000 records, 10,000 records, then it has to create a bulk number of cases at a time. So automatically what happened? Then it will be burden on the server to maintain, right? So automatically server will down. So that is what, there are some nodes which are assigned to this job scheduler while it is processing the or executing the activity. Okay, so that is what we see the node which you want specify or associate with this specific nodes, that you can associate the node, or you want run in the all the nodes at a time. Okay, and when you want start this job schedule, okay, so when it has to be started, so every 1 hour, weekly, monthly, yearly, multiple times in a day, just select, and every hour, minutes, seconds. For testing we go with the seconds. What we do here, every 30 seconds or like that, or every 60 seconds, 90 seconds, you can define. We'll go with the 30 seconds. Okay, context. So system context, specify an access group. System the context means your application setting. What is your application right now? So it will be using your application context. Okay, application have this rule sets and all this configuration, right? Automatically this context will take care I mean it will be running. So generally this is what job scheduler, which is nothing but a user only. It's nothing but a requester. What is the definition of a requester? See, I am also logged into the application. I am the requester of this application, right? I am the requester of this application. I'm logging through the browser. Okay, then the system is identifying the browser requester. I'm logging to this application as in the browser. The system is using, I mean, identifying this is I'm the user. I have the specific access to log into the application, and I am logging through the browser. And this is what the browser requester it will be considered as. All right. So this is also a user only. This is what background user. I mean, the system it initiate a requester, and that requester should have some access to perform some actions in your application. And to perform some action, it should have some access. And that is what type of access we are providing. That's we do. You just want to take the system context, and whatever the application you define the settings, it will be take it as default, or you can specify an access group. What is this access group? Access group is a combination. It is the set of the application and security configuration. And if you define the access group, any of this access group here, and automatically it will be take that access group settings of to the requester, and it will be trying to execute the activity. So tbank, see here tbank author, we don't have any manager. Just define here the author, right? Now the class of the activity which we implement the logic and execute the activity in the background. So now let can take the word class, and what are you trying to do with the activity, that is up to the logic. So when system initiator user and the background user, I mean the requester, what the requester has to execute the activity. I mean, what is the logic action has to be performed. So now here the activity, what is the activity we just want to perform? So this job scheduler will do whatever the logic you want to execute the activity, and this activity will be executed. So what type of logic we can take here? So what is the logic we can consider is, let's go to the data type. Okay, so what we do is yeah, we do one thing. Whatever we create the cases, right, in the last week, for example, click on here to open all the instances. You'll see all the instances. So all these cases we created, right? Or all are resolved. Click on here. If not resolved, we'll assign this task to the select close cases after I mean close cases, last week cases we want to close it, right? Close cases close last week cases, for example. Click on the gear icon to open the activity. Create the activity. We didn't create any activity, right? Click on it. So it is resolved, right? I mean, it's resolved completely. Yeah. Okay. So creating the framework layer. Click on create and open. So there is a page. Just do temporary page. Okay, just do the create the temporary page. Work plus. So what we define here, this is the okay framework features token. Okay, whatever it. So I do. What is the method I can use? I just want browse the list of records, but I need to have a list, right? So how can I create a page list? So px results, which is the list can hold of all this data, the class, and now which is the type of class should be what code Pega list. So now define the page, copy this page, the class, copy this and here, and okay, so just take it as a pager NSK of internal. Okay, what should I do? Dot. So status, right? What is the property which is holding the status of the work object? Py status work, which is not resolved. What is the condition? Equal or not equal what? What we do is I want fetch the list of records which are not resolved. So py star status were which is holding the value, so not equal to what resolved completed. Just open any of the case. This is not resolved. This is also not resolved, right? Let I do one thing. Contains resolved. Okay. So trying to fetch the list of records now. So what I have to do now? I want to close them, right? How can I do that? So loop on the list, select the px results and loop on embedded page, submit. So what I have to do now? You can add a child, okay, step inside this loop. Click on here and add child. Right click and add child. So on loop of every record with which then I want to resolve it. So there we have activities we have. Let's search it. Click on it. Resolve. So we have an activity to close the case. But it goes. There we have a py. Not showing a close case. Okay, so there we see we just search here py showing. That is the activities we have. Post close case. Okay, so we have here, right, px post case close. Click on here, which is in the work class. What is the parameters we can pass? The object ID. It's a PGNSK it's required, and the status we want update. So use this post case close. This is an existing activity. Paste it and click on it here. So now, so here the step I just include what property set and obj browse. I want test with single record. So maximum records I just defined as a 1. What is the maximum records it will fetch if we not define? It will be fetch up to 10,000 echoes at a time. Okay, but as of now I just restricted to only the one record. Okay, and now force close. And so what is that? So this is the parameter. Okay, parent case key. What is that? So whatever it written, EZ INSK, whatever the PGNSK it will fetch in the obj browse, and there I am passing to this param, and this param I am sending to here this parameter, and the status what resolved completed. Okay, and this is what update history, and save it. So this is the class is the implementation, right? It's not allowing. How we can do that? This obj browse. So what we need to do here? This is a implementation. You can send it as a param as well, but as of now, I just copy into the implementation. So select here and this class, click on create and open. So now the obj browse, which is fetching only the one record, and this is the looping, and inside the loop, we just won't close that. Save this one and check in this. So it is done. How do I know whether it is working fine or not? Let's test with run it manually. Click on run it. So leave it as the states and put on tracer. Click on the trace, and let's see how this activity is executing. Click on run it. So it is success, and go to the tracer. So it is fetch one record, right? It browse the one record and fetch one record. So what is that? So it fetch C4 as a INS key. It resolved cancelled. Okay. It fetch what is the data it fetched? Resolved only, right? So what is the condition we give in the obj browse? It shouldn't equal to resolved, right? Let open the instance of the classes. The browse condition we need to change it. What we do is does not contain. Check out, save it and check in. See, already it is resolved, then it doesn't need to close it, right? So now let's go here, clear it, and now let's run it. For testing, how does it go? Let me, it's done. Now see what is the data it fetch. Here you see it's calling the activity here and the browse. Click on here this page. It fetch only the maximum records of 1 and fetch is in 1. And what is the records it fetch? This is what it fetch. And what is the status you see? New. And now then it is resolved, right? Here we see let run this case, and this is what CIFN1. Copy this, and this is should be resolved. Go here, and here you see click on it. This is the status is new only, but it will be close it actually. Let's see. Search here. Is not open here. Check in the class instances. Click on here to open. You see, status where changed it, resolved, completed. And who has done that? A minute ago. Who has done that? Here. And this is what. So it is run for every, what is that? Close it and go here and save it. What this system has to do this does not exist. Bank India work. Yeah, there's down array. Not valid entity for rule set. Okay, this is the rule set is a different way process. And this is a we created a way. Click on here. It's created in the Bank India, right? The rule set conflict if you see here. What we need to do, we just copy into that rule set. And whatever so it will take what is the condition here? Last week, right? How it could take last week? So here the logic it should take, it shouldn't equal to resolved. And B, the condition I just want to include. How can I identify it's created last week? There is a proper created date time. So this is, go to settings. We have a date compare. Okay. But as of now, just leave it. So that's you do better using the reports, but as of now, just leave it. So now you see, right? So just try to work from your side, compare date. You have the functions. Date, search the date, and you will see the functions, right? Compare date.